Hello friends, welcome back to the tetrahedron chemistry classes. So guys, today I am going to discuss a very important topic from the general organic chemistry, and this topic is particularly useful for JEE mains and JEE advanced as well as for IIT JAM examinations. However, see, you cannot find the direct question from the dipole moment in your CSIR net in the GATE examination, but nonetheless the topic is very important, dipole moment. So today we will see in detail with various examples how we can understand the dipole moment, right? And surely after completing the lecture you will definitely learn from this lecture few new things. Okay, so when it comes to the dipole moment, so it actually represented by the mu, right? And see what actually this mu is actually, right? So see, the polarity of any individual bond is measured in terms of its dipole moment. Say for example, if you have a particular bond, say you are having this OH, you know, this is negatively charged and this is positively charged from the basics, right? So what would be the polarity of this particular bond? That would be decided by the dipole moment mu. Okay, and this would be known as actually your bond dipole moment. First of all, you should know this particular thing. Okay, and when it comes to the dipole moment, so the simple formula is what? Mu equals to delta multiplied by d. So it will not make any difference. Different text actually use different symbols of the different terms for the delta and the d, right? And when you write this formula, so what is the meaning is of this, right? Delta is basically the charge. Delta is charge, okay, and d, you know, the distance. And when you are talking about the molecule, so definitely it would be your bond length. Okay, this d would be your bond length. So you know, this dipole moment is a vector quantity, so sometimes you can find this sign over there because it is a vector quantity. Why vector? You know, the vectors are those which are having the direction as well as the magnitude. This is something very important. Okay, and what is the unit of this? Unit of dipole moment. So basically the most famous unit is debye. dE, V by E debye, and it is generally shown by the capital D. Okay, and here you see a very important relation which you can note. 1 debye equals to 3.34 into 10 raised to the power minus 30 coulomb into meters. Coulomb into meters. Okay, and see, there is a very straightforward rule of thumb, so I can write it here. Rule of thumb. What is that rule of thumb? Okay, see, if you want to your dipole moment measured in the debye, that is capital D, so what you will do, whatever your see this charge and distance is there, so I can write, say here, delta, so I can write charge for this one, charge, okay, and this is d, distance, basically it is bond length, and it is measured in the angstrom when this happens actually. Okay, so if you multiply this factor with 4.8, okay, then whatever the dipole moment will come, it will have the unit of the debye, that is d. This is something very important. So here I will explain you some of the physical part which is very important for your GE advanced, G mains and GE advanced, and then I will come to the application part of this one. Say for example, you have been given this problem. So problem is what? This is the question. Okay, see, what is the problem? If a proton and an electron right, they were 1 angstrom apart, calculate the dipole moment. calculate mu. So how you will do this? You know how I can solve this one. Dipole moment mu, that would be equals to 1.6 into 10 raised the power minus 19 coulomb. This is the charge present on your proton or an electron. You can take any one of them. Okay. See, this is first part, which is the charge. You can see here delta. This should be multiplied by 10 raised the power 10 meters. So ultimately, you know, the formula is what? Delta multiplied by distance in angstrom, and it is given in angstrom here, and you know, see, 1 meter equals to 10 raised the power 10 angstrom. Okay, so if you convert 1 angstrom into the meter, so it will become what? 1 angstrom equals to 10 raised the power minus 10 meters. So you can put that meters here. Okay, if you solve this particular value, then this will give you 1.6 into 10 raised the power minus 29 coulomb into meter. So I am writing C dot M, which is coulombs into meter. And now if you say, if you want to convert this into dBi, so you know what is the rule of thumb. 1.60 multiplied by 10 raised the power minus 29, which is the calculated value of the mu. If you divide this value with 3.34 into 10 raised the power minus 30, this will give you 4.8 dBi. This is how you can calculate the dipole moment when it is given. So this is something very, very important. And you know from where actually this factor came, this particular factor, right? This factor came from here. You know, the 1 dBi equals to 3.3 into 10 raised the power minus, sorry, it should be 30. It should be 30. Okay. So this is how you can calculate. Now, if you want to know, if you want to solve some more problems, say for example, you have been given this problem, which says that calculate the charge separation. Calculate charge separation, okay, for carbon single bond oxygen, okay, with bond length. Bond length is given, and that bond length is 1.34 angstrom. For example, it is like that, okay, and a dipole moment, of 0.86 dBi. So how you will solve this one? Say this is quite simple problem, and you may encounter this problem in your G mains or G advanced examination. Say for example, this is carbon single bond oxygen. Of course, it would be tetravalent from here. You know, the carbon is positively charged and oxygen is negatively charged because oxygen is more electronegative. Okay, and of course your bond dipole will, we have vector in this direction. So please remember this point. Whenever you draw the vector for the dipole moment, then more electronegative atom will have the head towards itself and tail, cross tail with the less electronegative to the less electronegative atom, which is carbon in that case. Okay, and the bond length is also given, guys, in that case, and that bond length is 1.43 angstrom. So how you can solve? Mu in the dBi, that would be equals to what? 4.8 into charge, which is charge separation in that case, bond length in angstrom, right? You have these things. So this mu is given, which is 0.86 dBi, right? 4.8 is already there. charge separation is also given, and see this you have to calculate, and this D is given, it is 1.34 angstrom. So you will write 1.3, it is not 3, sorry, it is 1.43, it is 1.43. so I have to make a little change from here also. This is 1.43 angstrom. Okay, this is how you can write. Okay, and now if you want to calculate the delta, it should be quite simple. That would be 0.86 divided by 4.8 into 1.43. If you solve this factor, then you will find 0.12529 E, which is electronic charge unit, ESU. Sometimes you can also write the ESU for this E. So this is how you can solve the problem. Now see guys, a very important point actually which I want to make here. Say if you want to know the dipole moment of the molecule, dipole moment of molecule. So what are the factors you need to consider the dipole moment of the molecule? First of all guys, you should remember this particular point. This dipole moment is a very complex thing, and it is not easy to interpret, and you will always have the certain kind of the problem in which you will face difficulty to identify the dipole moment of the molecule, because it is quite complex to interpret. This is something very important which you should know. So if you want to know the dipole moment, then you know three types of the things. The first thing you should know, which we generally show with the mu h, which is your intrinsic homopolar dipoles. Okay, I can write this intrinsic homopolar dipoles. But the contribution of this intrinsic homopolar dipole is very less. So generally we don't consider this as a very important parameter. So you not need to worry about the mu h. The second point which is very important, which we generally call bond moments, bond moments due to electronegativity difference, This is a very important parameter, and you should consider this always. So this we can write as mu e. Okay, so first was your mu h, which is not very important, but this mu is very important, mu e. And the third thing which you should know, which is bond moments due to lone pairs, okay, which we generally write mu l. So these are the three different types of the moments. First is intrinsic homopolar dipole moment, which is not very important. The other two, the mu e and the mu l, are very important. And whenever you are deciding the dipole moment of any molecule, you have to consider these things. Okay, later in the lecture these things will come again and again. Okay, so but this is the basic idea about your dipole moment. Now say if you want to go a little further, say what is bond polarity actually? Say I can write here bond polarity. See, the bond polarity is basically due to the difference in the electronegativity between the two covalently bonded atoms. Okay, and whenever there is a significant difference in the electronegativities, then your bond would be the polar, otherwise non-polar. So what is the meaning? What is the meaning, right? Say for example, if you have the atom A and the atom B, right? And these have the different electronegativities. For example, this B is more electronegative, so you can put negative over there and positive here. Okay, so if you want to take the electronegativity difference between these two, A and B, difference in the electronegativities between A and B, if this difference is less than 0.5, then your molecule or then your bond moment would be non-polar. But if this electronegativity difference between the two combining atoms in a covalent bond is greater than 0.5, then definitely your bond would be polar. See, this dipole moment is very, very important. It actually explains the polarity of the molecule as a whole. And when you know the polarity of the molecule, then you know the solubility of the particular molecule. And once you know the solubility, then you may apply the solubility concept in the various fields of the chemistry, like in the organic synthesis also, where you always encounter with the problem that particular molecule or particular molecule is soluble in that particular solvent, like dissolve like, right? Polar ionic compounds will dissolve in the polar solvents, and your covalent compounds will dissolve in their say non-polar things. So these things are very, very important. Okay, so see, there is see how you can decide the bonds are polar or not. So for example, you are having it's a very important thing. Say this OH you are having, you know, this is negatively charged and this hydrogen is the positively charged, right? And if you want to take the electronegativity difference, you know, the oxygen is having the electronegativity of 3.5 and this hydrogen is having the electronegativity of 2.1. If you take the difference between the two, the electronegativity difference, so that it will give you the 3.5 minus 2.1, so that would be 1.4. So that difference is 1.4. It simply means your molecule is the polar one. Okay, and say for example, you may have another say variant. For example, you are having the sulfur and hydrogen bond. You know, the sulfur is having the electronegativity of the 2.5, right? And this is having the electronegatividity of the 2.1. So if you take the difference between the electronegativities of these two, so you can write 2.5 minus 2.1, that will give you 0.4. So this actually falls in this category, which is less than 0.5. So it's a non-polar bond. Non-polar bond. So with the help of this particular concept of the electronegativity difference, you can actually decide whether the bond is polar or not. No, the important thing is that you should know the some electronegativity values, not all, but some electronegativity values. So this concept you can very beautifully use to explain the various things. Okay, guys. So this is the little idea about the dipole moment. Okay, this is the physical aspect. Later on I'll also discuss some of other things, right, in that case when it comes. Okay, and then we'll solve some of the numerical based on this also. Say for example, you can also calculate the percentage ionic character in any molecule, in any covalent molecule. So how you can do that? Percentage ionic character in covalent bond. Guys, related to this particular ionic character in the covalent bond, I have already made a video on the polarization and the Fazan's rule, right? So if you don't know what is the Fazan's rule and the polarization, and again it's a very important topic, so you can go see. I will provide the link in the description. Okay, you can go through. So say for example, how you can calculate. So formula which you will use to calculate this percentage ionic character, so you would be like that: percentage ionic character, that would be equals to dipole moment experimental divided by dipole moment theoretical, and in this theoretical dipole moment we will consider a molecule 100% ionic, right, which this is theoretical. We can write this is theoretical, and in the denominator part we will consider the molecule as 100% ionic. Okay, and if you multiply this with 100, that will give you the percentage ionic character. So we can excuse me sorry, we can see a problem based on this. Okay, so for example, you have been given HBr molecule. Okay, this HBr is given, and for this HBr mu experimental, that means the experimentally find the dipole moment, the value of this is 0.79 dBi, that is D. Okay, and this bond length is also given between hydrogen and the Br. It is 1.41 angstrom, say it is given here. So you have to calculate the percentage ionic character. So for percentage ionic character, you have actually two things here. You have only this this one, and you have this bond length. So you have to calculate your dipole moment, theoretical dipole moment, right? So theoretical dipole moment, theoretical dipole moment. Okay, so how we can calculate the theoretical dipole moment, which is also known as the mu ionic. I already told you, you can write mu ionic for this one, and you know it is what? Charge into distance. Okay, and charge, see, you know, you need this in the dBi. So first of all, you will write 4.8, which is the rule of thumb. Okay, and you should multiply this with 10 raised to the power minus 10 E, that is ESU. Okay, electronic charge. This is the charge separation actually. Okay, and you are having this D, the bond distance, which is 1.41 angstrom. So you will convert this into the centimeter, 10 raised to the power minus 8 centimeter. Okay, these two. Okay, and when you do this, and if you want answer in the dBi, then you know this should be multiplied by the 10 raised to the power minus 18. This is a little trick which you need to know, and if you solve this, then you will find it is 6.77 D. So this is very important to understand. See, whenever you are considering the molecule, this HBr as the 100% ionic, and you are calculating this ionic dipole moment, so you will write the electronic charge, which is 4.8 into 10 raised to the power minus 10. Okay, and this bond length is given for you, and this, when you when you divide this value by 10 raised to the power minus 18, only then you will have the value of 6 in dBi actually. Okay, and this is something very important, and this is the electronic charge. Okay, this electronic charge in ESU, where or you can see how I can write charge on the electron. You can see here charge on electron. So it is what? 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19 coulomb, with negative sign, of course, right? It is in coulomb, and this electronic charge is basically in ESU. It is 4.8 into 10 raised to the power minus 10 ESU. Okay, that's why this value is here. Okay, now it's very easy to calculate the percentage ionic character. Percentage ionic character. So mu experimental, you know, it is 0.79, which is in the dBi, divided by mu theoretical, you have calculated, which is 6.77 dBi, multiplied by the 100. If you solve, then this will give you 11.6. So roughly you can say that 12% ionic character is there in the HBr molecule. This is something very important. The key is that if you want the value in the dBi, right, then definitely see, if you have been given this ESU into centimeters, okay, this is actually what your dipole moment, and if you want this dipole moment in dBi, say capital D, so you will divide that ESU into centimeter divided by 10 is the power minus 18. This will give you the value in the dBi. This is the trick which you actually need to know. Okay, this is something very important. So this is the physical part of this. Now we will see the numbers of the problems to understand the concept fully. This is very important. Okay, say guys, you have been given the various compounds. Say this is my problem number 1, for example. You have been given this compound just like that. Okay, and this is OH, this is OH. So this is actually dihydroxy derivative of the cyclobutane. Okay, and this is the compound 1, so I can write it as A, and you have been given the second compound as B, which is benzene. Okay, and CN is there, so you can write the CN. Okay, this second problem, and say this is B, and third problem is say this one. You are having CH2 Cl, and again you are having the CH2 Cl. Here also you are having the CH2 Cl, and again you are having the CH2 Cl. So this is the problem C. Okay, and then you are having the next, that is the structure D, which is a heterocyclic compound. So for this heterocyclic compound, what I can do, I can write NH here and I can write NH here. So which one will have, you have been asked that which molecule will have the non-zero dipole moment. That means the species which will have the zero dipole moment. So I am telling you this benzene derivative will have the dipole moment of 0. Okay, and this will also have the dipole moment of the 0, and this will also have the dipole moment of the 0, but that cis isomer will not have the dipole moment of the 0. So if you want to find the species which is having the non-zero dipole moment, so your answer is actually what? Option A. And remember one thing, generally, I am not actually saying 100%, say generally cis isomers have dipole moment. Right? While trans isomers generally don't have the isomers, but it is not always true, where we have the several examples in which we can see the we have the trans isomers, but it will also have the dipole moment, but it will be only in few species. So why this actually this cyanide is having the zero dipole moment? You can see here, I can write it here. Say for this I am writing here, say this is benzene, this is cyanide, carbon triple bond nitrogen, you can just write like that, carbon triple bond nitrogen, and here also it is carbon triple bond nitrogen. So it's a perfectly symmetrical structure. So you should always remember that whenever you are having the perfectly symmetrical structure with all the substituent of the same kind, then such species will have the zero dipole moment. How? See the dipole moment, how the dipole moment will actually project. So this is the bond moment of the CN, this is the bond moment of the CN, and this is the bond moment of the CN. So you know this dipole moment is actually a vector and they are going in the different directions, and you know that whenever the vectors actually goes in the different directions, they cancel their effects. So whatever the bond moment would be there for this cyanide would be exactly cancelled by the other. So that's why this species will have the zero dipole moment. Okay, and see for this also, if you consider this molecule, this one, so you are having say nitrogen here and hydrogen here, and then again you are having the nitrogen and hydrogen here. So for this bond dipole will project in that manner head towards the more electronegative atom, and bond dipole moment of this NH will project like this. So they are coming in the different directions, right? And when they are coming in the different directions, so they will mutually cancel their bond moment, and this species will also have the dipole moment of the 0 like the previous one. Okay. Similarly, in that case, if you want to know this one, so what I can do, I can make the little changes here only. So I can removing the chlorine from here, okay, just like that, and putting my chlorine back. Say this is Cl, this is Cl, this is Cl, and this is also Cl. So how the bond moment will go? Okay, so bond moment will go in that manner, right? This is just like that, it is just like that. So this will cancel this. Similarly, this will go up, and this will go down, so they will also cancel, so it will have the zero dipole moment. But what about this species which is having the non-zero dipole moment? So in that case, you see, if I redraw this structure, so this is the cis structure. Cis means this actually OH is in the above direction, and this is very important. You know how I am writing this OH bond, which it is very important. Okay, and this again I am writing in that manner. So if you know the dipole moment, okay, so how it will project? Just like that, head towards the more electronegative atom. So they are coming in the same direction. So the value of the net dipole moment, would be in that direction. This is net mu, and this cannot be zero, so it will have the non-zero dipole moment. You may have the such problems in your examinations also. Okay, now say you may have a different problem. Say I'm having my problem second, which is the problem number 2, which says that, say you have been given these species. The species 1, double bond O, this is single bond, okay, and second species is your 5-membered, okay, just like that, O, and your third species is this one, which is this one, okay, just like that, and next species is a 6-membered ring. So you have been given these species. Okay, say this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, and you have to arrange the species which is having the highest, which is having the dipole moment in the increasing, say decreasing order. For decreasing order, you have to select which one have the highest dipole moment. So I am telling you how we can decide this one. So this species C is very important, right? How this species C is very important? You see, if I write the species in that manner, so what can happen? This electron pair or this pi bond can jump here. When it jump here, you will have this species, which is oxygen negative, and this carbon is positive, and this is a double bond here. So if you want to draw the another resonance structure for this one, so what can happen? This can come here, and when this can come here, you may have your another species, and that species would be just like that, positive, oxygen negative, and this is positive, right? And you know this particular species is the aromatic. This part is what? This part is the aromatic part. You know, for aromaticity you can apply the Huckel's rule, 4n plus 2. Okay, so how many pi electrons are there? Only 2 pi electrons are there, because only one double bond is there, so you can write 2 here, right? And when you do that, you are having the n value of 0 by 4, which is 0. And you know, when you are putting your number of pi electrons in the 4n plus 2 system, and you are having 0, 1, 2, 3, then your species are aromatic. So this actually 3-membered ring is aromatic. Okay, that's why it is having the highest dipole moment. So it is having the, I am writing highest dipole moment, highest mu in that case. Okay, now so you can write now you can think of about another structures. Say your next structure, say you are going for this one, A. So this A is, again you see, this is the special one. This is double bond O. This is just like that. Okay, and if you see here, if this electron jumps here, so it will result in this species. Oxygen is negative, carbon is positive, and this is here, and this is just like that. And for this you can also draw the resonance structure. There is no problem in that. But in that case you see a very special feature. This carbon is sp3 carbon. When the carbon is sp3, that means it is a non-aromatic compound. Non-aromatic compound. Though it is resonance stabilized, but it is non-aromatic compound. So it will be stable, but it will be less stable than your say C. So what order you should expect? C is having the highest dipole moment, followed by the A. Okay, this is how you can write. And then after that you are having the two options. In the two options, you know, the 6-membered rings are generally more stable. Okay, so when it is more stable, definitely then your D will have the higher dipole moment, and your 5-membered species are less stable. So lastly you are having this B. So this would be the correct order of dipole moment, decreasing order of the dipole moment. So you have to consider the aromaticity concept also. I have made a detailed video on the aromaticity also, and I am giving you the link in the description. If you want to know the things, then you can go to that lecture also. Okay, this is something very, very important. Now say you are having another problem. Say problem 3, you are having the benzene, perfectly symmetrical molecule. So you know it will have the 0 dipole moment, 0 D, Dbi. And say you are having the second species, and that species is cyclohexadiene. Okay, so this cyclohexadiene is found to have 0.13 D. Okay, and then you are having this species. It's a 3-membered ring, double bond oxygen. This is just like that, and here you are having the, say, benzene. I am writing pH. I am writing the pH for the phenyl. And last species which you are having, the ketone, basically your benzophenone. Okay, so this species is having 5.08 of Debye dipole moment, which is very, very high, and this one is having 2.95 Debye. So basically this question is related to these species, and you can answer very easily. You can answer this question very easily. This will form the aromatic part. This will form the aromatic ring. See this species. The only difference is that in this problem we are having the phenyl attached to this one, and when this is aromatic species with that with this one positive and the negative end. Okay, just like that. If this goes just like that, so you can write oxygen negative, carbon positive, and this one, and the species is the negatively charged, so it is having the highest dipole moment. So why this actually 3-membered ring is having the higher dipole moment? Because it is producing the aromatic species due to the delocalization of the bond. Okay, so the correct order would be just like that. Say if it is A, if it is B, if it is C, if it is D. So C is having the highest one, followed by the D, and then you are having the B, and lastly you are having the A. But you not need to worry about these two species, because this dipole moment of 0.13 is very, very small. Okay, so you actually don't worry about this one. The main question actually is this one, the difference between these two. So this is something very, very important. Okay, now say moving to the next problem, what it says. Say you have been given the different species. Say this is my problem number 4. Say you are having the naphthalene. You are having this naphthalene. Okay, you can put the bonds in that manner. This is naphthalene, and after naphthalene, say you are having the phenanthrene. So how you can write the phenanthrene? A benzene ring attached with the benzene ring, and this is the different fusion. Okay, so you can put the bonds to complete the tetravalency of the carbon. So you can write just like that. Okay, this is another structure. And then you are having, say, anthracene. So how anthracene looks like? 3 benzene ring fused in that manner. I can write in that manner. Okay, and then you are having the next species, which is, say, this one, a 7-membered ring. Okay, attached with the 5-membered ring. Say you are having, this is here, this double bond is here, this double bond is here, and this double bond is here, and this double bond is here. And say this is the species A, this is the species B, this is the species C, this is the species D. So say this species A is naphthalene, so I can write naphthalene. Okay, second is phenanthrene, and the C is your anthracene. Okay, and this is the last species. Okay, and that last species is your azulene. And in the textbook, in the various textbook, you can find a straightforward question just like that. Azulenes have very high dipole moment. This you should know. Azulenes will have the very high dipole moment. How they will have the very high dipole moment? This is something very, very interesting. Azulenes generally form the dipolar structure. It forms the dipolar structure, and in this dipolar structure, both the rings actually are aromatic. So how we can see that? Say for example, I am moving the electron of this one. Say for example, this electron pair would come here. Okay, then definitely this will move here, and this will come here, this will go there, and this will come here. Okay, and you will have the resonance structure for this one. So I am writing the resonance structure for this one. This is the 7-membered ring, and this is the 5-membered ring. Now your electrons just like that, here, and this moved here, this moved here, and this moved there, and this moved here. So this is the resonance structure. Okay, see, in that case what happens? there is a mechanism actually in which it forms a dipole. It forms a dipolar structure. So how it forms the dipolar structure? Say for example, this electron pair will come here, and this will come here. So what it will result? So it will result a very special species. This is the 7-membered ring, and this is your 5-membered ring. Okay, so this is the double bond which is present here, this is the double bond which is present here. Okay, and when the electron moves actually, okay, so this double bond is here, and this will get a negative charge. Okay, and this is here, and here this will get the positive charge. So guys, it is this is something very, very important which actually you should know. So what I am trying to explain, see, this actually moved here, and this moved here. When this moved here, that means this part will have the negative charge, so I am putting the negative here. So this bond has moved here, that means this will have the double bond now. So here it is having the double bond, and we'll put the positive charge here. So this structure which I have shown you right now, it's a dipolar structure. And in this dipolar structure, guys, you can see this actually your what? Cyclopentadienyl anion, which this is your, I'm writing cyclopentadienyl. It is aromatic. How it is aromatic? 4n plus 2 pi. right? 4n plus 2 Huckel's rule you can apply. And this part is also the aromatic one. Why? Because it is tropylium carbocation. It is tropylium carbocation, and you know that tropylium carbocation is one of the most stable carbocation. Okay, so this dipolar structure in which both the 7-membered ring and your 5-membered ring are aromatic in nature, and this dipolar structure, that means the positive and the negative end, it gives a very high dipole moment to the azulines. Not only this particular azulene, you may have the various kind of the azulene. This is a class of the molecules. They may always have the very high dipole moment. This is something very, very important which you need to know. I hope this is clear to you. There is no problem in that. Okay. Now say if you want to go a little further. See guys, I am discussing only the those problems which are very, very important and which are rarely discussed by the people in their lecture. So I am actually selecting a very important problems here. Okay. So I am giving you one more example here. Say for example, you are having, say, I don't know what is the problem number, so I am writing in that manner. Say you have been given this species, right? So this is the fluorine here, this is the fluorine here, and this is the double bond. First species and second species is just like that. I am putting the fluorine here, and again I am putting the fluorine here. Okay, and we are having the third species which is having the fluorine here, which is again having the fluorine here, which is again having the fluorine here and the chlorine here. Another species, and your last species is this one. You are having this fluorine here and you are having this fluorine here. Okay, this is something very, very important. Say this is the species A, this is the species B, this is the species C, and this is the species D, and you have to actually tell then what is the correct order, correct decreasing order of, you have to arrange this in the decreasing order of dipole moment. So how you can arrange? So I already told you, generally your trans isomer will have the zero dipole moment. So what you can do, you can put your hydrogens here just like that. So again you can put your hydrogens here, there is no problem in that, and again you can put the hydrogens here. This is something very, very important guys. Okay, so how you can explain the things. So in that case, you know, this fluorine is highly electronegative, so bond moment will actually, the vector will project towards the fluorine, and here also it will project towards the fluorine. This carbon which is present here, these carbons are sp2 carbons. Okay, since these carbons are sp2 carbons, definitely they have the higher electronegativity, or generally the carbon is having the higher electronegativity than hydrogen, but in that case your carbon is sp2 hybridized, so it is having the higher electronegativity, much higher electronegativity than your hydrogen. So again the dipole will project towards the carbon in that manner. So where would be the resultant project actually? The resultant dipole moment, where it will project actually, right? So in that case you see, whenever you have the such situation, just like that. Okay, so one bond moment is projecting here, another bond moment is projecting here, so resultant would be in that direction. Okay, so it will have the certain dipole moment. Okay, it will have this, I am not saying that it is having the highest dipole moment, but definitely it will have the mu which is not equals to 0. But in that case, if you see here, this will project in that direction and this will project in that direction. Okay, and in that case it will project in that direction, it will project in that direction. Okay, so this bond moment would be exactly cancelled by this carbon hydrogen bond moment, because the vectors are coming in the opposite direction, they are going in the opposite direction. Similarly, this carbon fluorine and this carbon fluorine, they are also going in the opposite direction, so they will cancel their effect. So this species will have the dipole moment of the 0. Okay, and one more thing which is very, very important. In that case, you can see here the bond angle is 120 degree, which is cos 120 degree, and in that case that bond angle is, if you see here, I can write the fluorine here, okay, in that case 180 degree. Okay, they are going in that direction. Now if you see this species, so the bond dipole will project in that direction and bond dipole will project in that direction. So they will mutually cancel their effect. But in that case, you see the bond moment will go in that direction. In that case, the bond moment will come in that direction. They are also opposite. But you know, carbon chlorine is less polar than your carbon fluorine. It is more polar. So what will happen? This CCl bond will partially cancel the bond moment of the CF bond. So this molecule will have some dipole moment, and that would be not equal to 0 actually. And if you go to this particular structure, so the bond moment will go in that direction and bond moment will go in that direction, which is the major one. So resultant will go in that direction. So definitely it will have the very high dipole moment, which is not equal to 0. So if you see properly, so this D, because it is having this net dipole moment in that direction, so D will have the highest dipole moment, followed by the A, which again I have written as just like that, A, and then you are having the C, and of course your B will have the 0 dipole moment. So this is the correct decreasing order. Okay, so in that way you can solve a number of problems actually. So how the vectors are going, how they are cancelling each other, right? So this is something very, very important. So these are the very special problems. So based on this you can actually explain the various problems. Now I am moving to the next problem. What it says that, say this is the problem which says that the dipole moment of dichloromethane CH2Cl2 is greater than chloroform, which is CHCl3. How we can explain this thing? Okay, so in that case you can draw the structure. This is dichloromethane carbon, which is hydrogen, and this is hydrogen, and you see this is the chlorine which is coming here, this is the chlorine which is coming here, and say this is your carbon, this is your hydrogen, and these are the 3 chlorines. Okay, see, however you may think in that manner, see, one may have this confusion. This chloroform is having the 3 carbon chlorine bond, so it should have the higher dipole moment, but it is not having the higher dipole moment. In fact, the dipole moment of this one is actually 1.03 dBi, and for this species, which is DCM, dichloromethane, for this it is little higher, 1.6 dBi. So chloroform, despite having the 3 CCl bond, is having the lower dipole moment. What is the reason for this one? So reason is quite simple, guys. You can see here, carbon is more electronegative, so the bond dipole will project towards the carbon. There is no problem in that, and in that case again it will project towards the carbon. Okay, and in that case, because chlorine is more electronegative, so it will project in that direction, it will project in that direction. So if these carbon hydrogens, they cancel their bond dipoles, but this 2 carbon chlorine bond actually, they give the net dipole moment in that direction, okay, while in case of your this particular bond, say this will come down in that direction, and this will go in that direction, this will go in that direction, this will go in that direction. Okay, so in that case you see these 3 actually will try to cancel each other, but they will not cancel completely the bond dipole moment of each other, and it is also this carbon hydrogen bond is also contributing. When this carbon hydrogen bond is also contributing, so only this is responsible in that case while they are cancelling. See, because these 3 bonds are the equivalent, so they will cancel their effects. while in that case actually what will happen, it is giving the net dipole moment. So in that case, you see, if the net is dipole moment coming in that direction, this will go in the opposite direction. Okay, so they will cancel. So this is something very, very important, and you will remember this point. Dichloromethane is always having the higher dipole moment because it is having the net dipole moment in a certain direction, while in the chloroform the 3 carbon chlorine bond cancels their dipole moment. Okay, now say yet another very special problem. Say you are having two species, which is CH3Cl, and second species, say you are having the CH3F. You are having these species. Okay, so if these species are there, what you expect actually, which one will having the higher dipole moment? Okay, one may consider in that direction or in this way, because this bond is more polar, and in that direction you see, or for this molecule, not that direction, I can write Cl here. Okay, so however in both the cases you see this bond dipole will project in that direction, in that way. Okay, but this is less polar, so one should expect that this should have the this methyl chloride should have the lower value of the magnetic moment than your methyl fluoride, but this is not true. In fact, what happens, your methyl chloride will have the higher dipole moment than your methyl fluoride. So what is the reason is that? What is the reason behind this? So reason, guys, is quite simple. You see, you know the dipole moment vector is what? Is the delta, which is the charge separation, which is the distance. Okay, so in that case you see the carbon and the chlorine, this bond length is very high bond length, somewhere around 178 picometer, 178 picometer, while your carbon fluorine bond is having the lower bond length, which is 1.39 picometer. So however, this charge, this electronegativity difference is also there, but in that case this bond length is 178 picometer is quite high. When it is quite high, that means this will have the higher dipole moment, and it is reported that this methyl chloride is having somewhere around 1.86 dBi of the dipole moment, while this species is having 1.84 dBi. So though the difference is very, very small, but you should know this thing, methyl chloride is actually having the higher dipole moment due to the higher bond length. So this is very, very important. Okay, so CCl bond moment in methyl chloride actually, right, they jointly works in the similar direction. So you can write in that manner also. Say if I write, say, carbon, this is chlorine, and these are the hydrogens. Okay, so dipole will go in that direction. They are all in the same direction. Same is true for this fluorinated compound also, but bond length is actually playing the role in that case. This is something very, very important. Okay, so this is how you can explain the various things. So you may have the number of the problems based on this one. So the length of the video is increasing too much, but I am going to take more problems which are very, very important. Okay, say generally next. Okay, so what actually I'm explaining to you, say symmetrical molecules. This is important. Symmetrical molecules have 0 mu, generally speaking. Okay, for example, if you have the carbon dioxide CO2, so how you can write? Carbon double bond oxygen, carbon double bond oxygen, and this will face, the dipole will go in the opposite direction. Of course, the mu resultant would be the 0, 1. Same is true for this species also. Carbon disulfide, another solvent, which is CS2. Okay, So however the electronegativity difference is low in that case, but again you see the bond moment will go in the opposite direction. Say you may have these species, say you may have the BX3 species, like you may have your BF3, okay, you may have your BCl3, you may have your BH3 unit, single unit if you have. They all have the dipole moment of the 0 because they are the symmetrical species. How? You see, I am writing boron here, I am putting this F here and putting this Cl, not X. See, you may consider that X anything actually, HCl or this one, anything you can consider. So however you see the certain bond moment will be there, but it is the perfectly symmetrical structure. Okay, see, if you know the point groups of the species, however it is not there in the IIT JEE and IIT JAM syllabus, the group theory. So certain, if you know about the point groups, then only certain point groups will have the dipole moment, the rest will not have. So I am not discussing that symmetry point group from here, but when I will go for this group theory, then I will explain how actually the point group decides the dipole moment actually, right? But this is a symmetrical structure, but you may have the angular structures also. Say instead of having CO2, you are having the H2O. So you are having the H2O. So it is not a symmetrical structure, it's a V-shaped structure, which is angular one. So if it is the V-shaped structure, which means what? Just like that. Okay, and you know, this is the dipole moment and this is the dipole moment, and of course two lone pairs would also be there. And remember one thing, whenever you have the lone pair present on the species, the molecule will always have the dipole moment. So a key here, it is very important key. Atom in the molecule, atom in the molecule, if have lone pair, then mu cannot be 0. This is something very, very important, and which at this point you will keep in your mind. Okay, so this water is actually quite polar, and you know, for this one somewhere around 1.85 dBi dipole moment is there. This is something very, very important. Okay, so sometimes you can also predict the geometry of the molecule by considering the you know, the dipole moment, but it is not obvious, 100% is not correct, so I am not going into the detail for this one. Okay, but a very important thing which you should know actually, say I am giving you the some important things here. Say you are having say what actually I am trying to explain here. Say you are having the aromatic compounds. Say you are having the aromatic compounds. Aromatic compounds. So in case of the aromatic compounds, how you will explain the concept of the dipole moment? Say for example, you are having this species, just like that. This is chlorine, this is chlorine, this is metadichlorobenzene, okay? And say you are having this species, it is say paradichlorobenzene, and say this species is orthodichlorobenzene. This is orthodichlorobenzene, right? See, you are having these three species. So what would be the dipole moment? So I am giving you the trick here. Whenever the C bond angle increases, the dipole moment increases. The dipole moment actually decreases. So remember this point. Bond angle increases, mu decreases. This is something very, very important. Say in that case, you see in the meta derivative, this bond angle is somewhere around 120 degree. Okay, and if you see here, in that case, in the para isomer, this bond angle is 180 degree. In this ortho isomer, the bond angle is somewhere around 60 degree. Okay, say what I told you, the bond angle increases, the mu decreases. So definitely if it is A, if it is B, if it is C, then definitely your C will have the highest dipole moment followed by the A, and B will have the lowest dipole moment. So you should have this particular order. Ortho dichlorobenzene will have the highest dipole moment while the para isomer will have the 0. And mathematically you can calculate this, right? There is a formula to calculate mathematically all these things. And what is that formula? That formula is mu equals to, that means dipole moment equals to square root of mu1 square plus mu2 square plus 2 mu1 mu2 multiplied by the cos alpha or cos theta, whatever you want to say, you can write. So now if you want to calculate the dipole moment of the different species, say I am calculating for this one, so you can write mu equals to, and for this you have to have certain parameters. So I am giving you those parameters, and those parameter is what? This value is say negative 1.55 dBi, and of course this value is also negative 1.55 dBi. So what is the meaning? See why this negative sign is there. This is something very important. Whenever you are having the aromatic compounds and your individual bond moment is away from the benzene ring, then you will have the negative sign, right? So I am writing, see, I am writing here bond moment away from ring, then negative sign. This is something very important which you should know actually. So if you want to calculate this one, so what you can write? You can write say minus 1.55 square of this one, okay, plus minus 1.55 square of this one, then plus 2 multiplied by minus 1.55 of square, and you are having in that case cos, sorry, I am calculating for the matter derivative, so cos 120 degree, and you know your cos 120 degree if you take, right, that cos 120 degree if you take here, okay, that will have the value of the 1, I think, okay, no, value of the half, okay, minus half. So cos 120 degree is minus half, so I can write minus half here, okay, and if you put the minus half here, write the minus half here, and if you solve this thing, then you will have the dipole moment of 1.55 d, okay. Similarly, if you calculate for this one, you know your cos 180 degree you will have, and cos 180 degree is minus 1, okay. When you have the cos 180 degree is minus 1, so definitely in that case if you calculate, this will give you the mu equals to 0, right, and for the ortho derivative this will give you the mu equals to 2.684, because in that case cos 60 degree would be there, and your cos 60 degree is 1 by 2, okay. So if you apply the concept, then you can actually determine the things here. So this is something very important. Now I am giving you another very important problem, which see what is the problem. So for this actually I need some space, so I am removing this one, I am removing this one in that direction, okay, and I am writing a different species, guys, here. That species is what? Your dihydroxybenzene derivative. So OH is here and this OH is here. So it is not the straight bond, like unlike your carbon chlorine bond. So however, you see this bond angle is 180 degree. So you should expect the dipole moment should be 0, but it is not having the dipole moment of the 0. In fact, this species is having the dipole moment of 1.64 dBi. So what is the reason for this one? So reason is quite simple, guys. You can see here. See, if I actually extend this line here, so this will form the bond angle of 83 degree, and same is true for this one also. Okay, if I extend this one, okay, then this bond angle is also 83 degree. And the net dipole moment, see, you know the lone pair is there on the oxygen, so not net dipole moment we project in that direction, and in that net dipole moment is project in that direction. So due to this 83 degree, the dipole moment will not cancel in that case, and it will have the very high dipole moment. Very important question. And similarly, say guys, you are having another, I am giving you the another problem. So you are having CH3 CH2 Cl, and you are having CH2 double bond CH Cl. So which one will have the higher dipole moment and which one will have the lower dipole moment? So remember, I am telling you, this vinyl will also, this vinyl derivative will have the lower mu value, while this alkyl derivative will have the higher mu value, higher mu. So for this methyl chloride, this ethyl chloride, you are having 2.05 dBi, and for this vinyl species, okay, this value is little low, and that is 1.44 dBi. So what is the reason for this one? See, reason is quite simple, guys. In that case, you see this is CH3, this is CH2, this is Cl. So this will attract the electron density towards itself. In turn, it will also attract the electron density from here. So in that case, minus I effect is operating. Minus I effect of Cl is operating, right, in the particular direction, which is giving this value. But if you take this species, so in that case, see, this minus I effect is of course is there, right? But you know the lone pairs on the chlorines are also there. So this can come here and this can go there, and in that case, if you see, your structure would be just like that: CH2 with negative single bond, CHCl, it is a double bond, okay, and a positive over there. And you are putting the positive charge on the electronegative atom, which is not very good. So it is not a stable, it is unstable resonance structure. Unstable resonance structure. So I can write properly, sorry. So time is, actually the length of the video has increased so much, so I am in little bit hurry. Resonance, okay, structure. So in that case, you see, inductive effect is actually going in that direction, but the mesomeric effect is going in the opposite direction. So actually they are trying to cancel their effects, and when the effects are cancelling, though not completely, but it will reduce, then it will reduces the dipole moment to this value. So this is something very, very important. So guys, you may have the numbers of the problems based on this, right? You may have the various problems based on this in the organic chemistry, in the inorganic chemistry, various problems you can have, right? But you have to do the practice for this one. Okay, so I hope, see guys, I have a number of problems. I have hundreds of problems based on this, but time will not permit to exceed the length of the lecture too much. That's why I am stopping here. If you have any doubt on the dipole moment and other species, then you can comment in the comment section. Then I will explain all the things in the little more details if you want. So however, see, you may find the problems in the various textbooks, and you can solve these things. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. I hope you like the lecture, and if you are liking the lecture, please subscribe the Tetrahedron Chemistry classes and do share with your friends also. Okay guys, thank you very much.